Welcome to the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose with Brittany Bigley. The Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose is part of the Live Bigley community, giving you the resources and knowledge to help you live the life you were born to lead. Hello, I am Brittany Bigley and I am your host for the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose. And today I wanted to jump on and talk to you about really pushing is not the right word, leaning into the things that we are avoiding because there's a silver lining. And I've given my example. I think if there's another episode that I've done recently where I say in 2025, my avoidance is not coming with me. And whether that's my avoidance in my avoidant attachment style, isn't coming with me in 2025, but also I tend to avoid a lot of things that are either emotionally heavy or draining or negative, or just emotionally overwhelming for whatever reason. I tend to have an avoidant behavior, and just showing up every day, kind of mundane tasks. So, I wanted to jump on here and give an example of how we can lean into the things that we are avoiding to find the silver lining. So ultimately, what you're avoiding is actually calling for you to bring your awareness to it. I'm going to say that again. What you are avoiding wants you to bring your awareness to it. So for my example, I'll give two examples, one more emotional, another more, I feel like I give this example a lot, but a little bit more of a mundane daily task. And so my first example is my avoidance of telling someone how I feel about them. And then the other more mundane thing is, I talk about this a lot, the dishes. Okay, so bringing my awareness to it that I see myself avoiding these things. So I clearly see myself not telling this person how I feel about them. And then I clearly can see myself in an avoidant behavior every time there is a pile up of dirty dishes in the sink that I need to do them. I find myself avoiding them until I finally get so like, fuck it, I need to do it. If you're one of those, please just reach out in the comments so that I know I'm not alone with it. But yeah, my forever avoidant task is the dishes. So, but it's asking us to be aware of it. So I've become aware of these things. The dishes, for whatever reason, maybe I've just realized that I'm like, oh, this is a task that I always avoid. And maybe even in my emotional, intimate experience is like, nope, I just don't want to be that emotionally vulnerable and tell somebody how I actually feel about them. So bringing awareness to it, right? And so when we bring our awareness to what we are avoiding, we bring our consciousness to it. And when we bring our consciousness to it, where consciousness goes, energy flows, we can actually begin to shift the stuckness around it. So let me say that again. We become aware of it. What we're avoiding, we become aware of it. And we bring our consciousness to it. And when we bring our consciousness to it, we can begin to shift the stuck energy around what we are avoiding. And usually when we do that, there's a silver lining or a little nugget of wisdom or medicine in it that we can, again, become conscious and aware of. And so when by not avoiding it and leading into it, that's when we get that nugget of wisdom or, just the silver lining or the lesson that we needed to learn. And so we can really use these experiences that we're avoiding to alchemize, our stuck energy and our stuck behavior and start to rewire and reprocess are stuck. And so let me take these two examples. So becoming conscious and aware of my inability or avoiding telling someone how I feel about them. I can offer myself a lot of grace and love, right? There was probably at some point in my history a time when I was really emotionally vulnerable and I wasn't met with emotional safety. And maybe this was just a one-time thing, and I'm kind of struggling to give you like this is my core wound about it, but I would imagine with my history, it wasn't just a one-time thing. It was probably a repeated occurrence, over and over again. And so, but I can offer myself grace, love, and compassion, like fierce, fierce love and compassion for maybe this little me who is really scared about being emotionally vulnerable and telling somebody my true feelings. And so once I give that grace and compassion to myself, I can actually start to heal and process and rewire that experience. And in doing that, I can then start to heal and then start to move from a place that's more aligned and authentic and create and take aligned action. So I'm hoping in the future, I'm hoping in the not too distant future that I can suck it up, buttercup, and, offer myself that grace, compassion, and love, that fierce love for my little self that's feeling emotionally vulnerable. But taking that aligned action to actually be vulnerable and tell that person how I feel about them. So that's one example. My dishes example, creating the awareness, bringing my consciousness to that. This, I think I have a little bit more concrete example of when I see those dishes like that, my brain goes back to a time when I was with my father, who after the divorce and the separation and divorce from my mom, he did not do a great job of taking care of himself. And so there would be dirty dishes piled up, and at least mine are contained to the kitchen. His weren't. His were in bedroom space and living room space. And it's just it brings me back to a time of I could energetically and emotionally feel that there was lack of love in his apartment. He was clearly, I just could feel emotionally and energetically that he was lacking love, and this space of his new apartment, his new living space, he was lacking love. And the way that he was manifesting in that, he was not doing the dishes. So that is the core wounding that I have, but I'm repeating that pattern. And so it's I'm bringing my awareness, my consciousness to it. And ultimately I'm lacking love for me to not do it and just not do it automatically, I think there's ultimately somewhere in my subconscious belief that maybe I don't love myself enough to do it. Based on this core wounding, this patterning that I saw with my father, maybe I'm repeating his patterns. But with the consciousness of this is something I'm avoiding, I can bring real fierce love to that little one who witnessed my dad doing that, witnessed his apartment with all these dirty dishes, in different spaces. Again, not just in the kitchen, at least mine's contained to the kitchen. So bringing this fierce love to this little girl who witnessed that, felt this lack of love in the space and, energetically, emotionally, and the lack of love probably with my dad for himself, and bringing love and compassion to myself in that space that was witnessing it. But also I think ultimately bigger healing happening, bringing that to my dad and healing some of that ancestral wounding as well. So, and once I do these things, this is probably going to be something that I go back and I do some meditation on. to be able to reprocess and reframe this and heal it and bring that fierce compassion. And ultimately, one of my practices is I bring it physically into my somatic being. So I bring it into my physical body and process it and feel it somatically. And once I do that, then I'm able to reshape, reframe the stuckness I have around it. And so reframe in order to be able to then take aligned action towards who I actually want to be, which is someone who is cleaning my space consistently and not leaving dishes to pile up. Someone who is sharing their emotional vulnerability and how they feel and with ease, to anyone, like to all of my relationships, not just friends, not to just trusted family members, but to people that I love and care about, like are intimate with, friendships, right? So I think that there is silver lining in the things that we are trying to avoid. Step one is bringing awareness to it, bringing your consciousness to it. Step two is bringing fierce love, compassion, acceptance to it. And ultimately, that's how we alchemize it and we shift the stuck energy. So hopefully this is something that can resonate with someone who needs to hear it. Ultimately, I'm doing this for me, sharing this expression. I'm learning this in real time, hoping that what I share might benefit other people. If it does, please go ahead and give me a like. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you think it will resonate for someone else, please go ahead and share it with them. I appreciate it. Anyways, I will see you when I see you, and happy healing. Thanks for listening to the Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose with Brittany Bigley. The Unstuck Yourself Daily Dose is part of the Bigley community, giving you the tools and resources so that you can live the life you were born to lead.